This is like what I would get. I just want to do some videos about the hacking to just show you how stalking can look like when you are being criminalized by your stalkers, as well as stalked. So you get all these messages and hacking, and you go to the police because you think, oh, I cannot have PayPal anymore. How am I going to live now? Oh, I cannot use my working apps. How can I live now? This is what was happening to my friends as well. That was like 26th of May 2023 when he came to me, and that was my donor. And they are saying, we are here to help you. He had lost complete access to iCloud as well, because they also attack. This is action fraud. So action fraud, a report again in like 2024. And it's about online identity theft. It says the use of another person's identity, often referred as identity theft, is not a police recordable crime. Where the details are used to obtain goods or services, we can only record a crime on behalf of the person or organization which was defrauded as a result of the misuse of an identity. Do you understand what you're saying? It says, where the details are used to obtain goods or services, we can only record a crime on behalf of the person or organization which was defrauded as a result of the misuse of an identity. So I was this person, but they were not taking me the crime, so they are contradicting themselves. And how can it not be a recordable police crime, like online identity theft? They can destroy your life and your company with online identity theft. Never heard that. An example of a situation in which we could record a crime would be where they were used to obtain credit, to which the use of which left the provider of credit with a financial loss, and this is exactly what I was reporting, that I cannot have a debit card because of it. But the police didn't do anything. Like, the only thing I can do is change account after all these years that I have an account with TSB. It's the only stable thing I got. This is how many emails of complaints the witness did. And I don't know if I was emailing them or she was emailing them, because she also sent me some of her screenshots, which, yes, it's her. I have printed them all. This is how many complaints she did. And they wrote that she didn't want to collaborate. I mean, even in the statement that she sent through the embassy after coming home, that I actually left the house and I could prosecute him because I was no longer in that place. That was not safe. They said that she wouldn't collaborate. This is like showing this was the notarized statement from an embassy, that they could check it online, even that there was that number of practice. So it was super recordable and accessible, her identity, through the embassy, because that's what embassies or municipalities that work as that to do some diplomatics work, they are for. And that's why she sent it that way. Pages and pages. They still close the case. 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 They sti And as I go through these, I'm looking at all my cats of the past, of all my houses that I lost because of these. And that's just something that nobody notices or thinks about, that when you are displaced. This is how good my car looked still before it was all damaged. I mean, if you look at it now, after 3 years, and I didn't have any accident except the one of the truck that hit me early in the morning when I got off the ferry last year in December. That hit me to go into another road from the left and then came back running after me and beeping. That was terrifying. And I still don't have a functioning mirror on the left because of it. But still, like, they think that it's okay that this keeps happening to my car wherever I go, even though I'm in areas that are residential, and nothing like that happens to anybody else. And you can see the pattern. And now you can even see who stole the mail. So why do you have any doubt that the guy did the car as well, when my friend saw the two of them and saw that the guy looked like him, even if it was night? I mean, the only reason why we didn't focus the reports on the guy is that we were scared of the owner, what she would do, because she was friend with him. And so we focused on we just picked one battle at a time. So we focused on what the woman was doing, because the woman had a very strong influence on the owner of the house because of her friendship with him. And together they were really strong. Like, it was this is like 30 December 2023, when that they were sending like recovery codes to it's the same email that is Materiana at iCloud that I no longer have, that was being used now when I was here, hacked on WhatsApp around the same time when these threats arrived to the guy who I've been trying to get a restraining order from. So you are in doubt that, and the phones that were hacking my Telegram and WhatsApp, as I shown to the police in the reports with the screenshot that I made, is exactly this one. So how would you have a doubt that it's all where it started, this and the other iCloud that I got located in the first 2 years after the assault? It's the one that I lost the money on, that the police didn't even investigate in spite of all the money I lost. Then I got refunded, but it will have been at least £2,000 over the last 4 years, or maybe a bit more, because there was also money stolen, like 500 at the time, from like a cloned debit card, and the bank didn't refund it, but I have like several of the same debit card that were sent to me, identical debit cards with the same pin, like clones copy. So anybody that, and I kept receiving them at home as if someone was ordering them and trying to get them from the mail from me. And I still have them, because I will still try to get those £2,000 back. But someday I'll go to a court and say, well, this happened. When I find out, when I can get one of them arrested, then maybe I can get and show the connection with the past. So this was when my petition last year was deleted from the stalker. No, 2024, 2 years ago, and hacked. So it was modified in a way that the very strong incipit lost completely its power because he put some offensive words that I hadn't written, because I mean that was a petition. Some very offensive words, like I don't remember what it was, but it changed completely the meaning of what I was saying. And you can do that very easily, like when you want to distort and caricature what someone writes because you want to ridicule them online. That is all the rubbish of on the activity monitor that I just took photos of, like pages and pages. That I didn't know what it was. So I was looking at all of these to see, is this hack, is this malware, what is it? Because even after a factory reset, this is a photo when I found my car that had just been imported in Sweden, and that had been completely checked over and was perfectly working. This is when they started vandalizing the doors with the drill, until when I was in Azoker, like months and months later in May, because this was 3 January 2024, then in May in the same way in the north of Nazoka, and then now in September in the south, and then now again, you know, before I went to the lawyer here at Vosseberg, in a closed street. But this one here in Eskilstuna also was a closed street. In September it was a closed street. I mean, this was not like a closed street but here, but it wasn't even more isolated. Only people that lived there went there. And nothing ever happened there. There were always strange cars coming by since I moved there. So from all these things, of course, I can recognize that it's exactly the same pattern over and over again. Like 6 January 2024, I couldn't get the codes. They didn't work. That's why I stopped trying, because I thought I'm gonna go crazy, because every day there is something. Every day. And in different devices, I have like I made the photos of the foot in the snow in Eskilstuna, because there were strange marks in the ground that was male bigger feet, and that it wasn't something that we were wearing, like shoes that we were not wearing. I'm just seeing if I can find something, because I also did a lot of videos here. And it's important that you keep evidence, even if people tell you you're crazy and isolate you because they don't want to hear, and they tell you that they want a peaceful life. So if you are a victim of a psycho that does not have peace within, obviously, then you're crazy. This is what I mean. Keep evidence, because these were steps that were not ours. And at my house in Sweden, I also found like steps of a child and of a man in the garden. And then saw that child with the guy who was also seen alone. I wouldn't have worried about the child if I hadn't seen him with the guy who was also seen alone, because of course a little boy can be naughty. But when I followed the guy and there was nobody behind him, the woman was saying, when we went to confront the mother of the child, the man and I, the woman said, the mother said, first told the boy off and said, I told you not to steal figurines. And then she said, I was there actually. She made up a completely different story all of a sudden. She said, I was there and I saw him, and he didn't do anything. He was just stealing some figurines, and I told him off. And I said, no, listen, I was there, and I went after him, and he went into the car of a man that is 54 and owns, and the car was unregistered, so it was not allowed to be driven. He drove it 12 hours from the south of Sweden to the north of Sweden, an unregistered car, and he was staying with these people at Axmo because he was with the little boy, and I saw his car there also. Because of course when I saw the little boy, I saw where he lived, and so I looked and I saw that the car was there. So I thought, okay, the guy knows the parents, or at least the father. But when we went to talk to the mother and the mother covered him, I thought this cannot be right. She's been scared. She's either scared or, and she was like, it's impossible. And it was very like aggressive. And so like when there is also another child that has red hair and freckles, and no, the other child has red hair but not freckles and doesn't live on the same street as me. And it was nothing against the boy. It was about the parents. Why do they let him be in this car of strange men that go around and stalk women? Why? It's a legitimate question. All these videos are like no longer available now. These are all videos of the footprint. I was so scared that someone would shoot me through the windows, because at the same time I was also getting threats through this guy. Guys, I mean different numbers that would text me. I just wanted to show also the magic though of it, because that is in the women's connection, because in this stalking story that happened because of having a relationship with a woman that was married and then left her husband and divorced her husband. We met also other women that belonged to these stalkers basically, and one, this is the wife of the husband that tried to strangle me. That is not the ex, it is not the husband, it's not the ex-husband of my ex, it's the ex-husband of another woman. But this is what she sent to us. This labyrinth is what I have tattooed. I have 3 tattoos of this labyrinth, one of my heart chakras, and I have also the left and the right. I have 3 tattoos of these on me, and it's a complete coincidence that I went to live 3 kilometers away from this tattoo in Tintagel, near the Rocky Valley they are, and they are represented exactly how I did them on my body, left and right. They are 2 labyrinths, so I was so surprised that it's just mind-blowing that I found 2 of them in the Rocky Valley. I thought there would be only one. Online it said that this tattoo was at this carving was at the Rocky Valley, and they didn't know if it was a real ancient one or someone that some new pagan did in 1948, which I think it's possible because the new pagans wanted to create their own archaeology to make their own pagan story to fit their narratives. But unfortunately, the true paganism doesn't fit new pagan narratives, and that's why they don't like traditional Druidism to have survived in any way, and they try to mock us, like if you are a Druid you have to be some kind of guru, and it's nothing like that, because Druidism, it's just an everyday practice. It's a spiritual practice, but it's also an everyday practice that people lived embedded in the lives of every day. You're still a human that is fallible. What is really magical about this is, she said, here is the picture of the labyrinth that appeared on the sand in front of me when I opened my eyes after I asked for a sign. So it was the 13th of May of 2018. Sorry, the 13th of March. The 13th of March, 2018. And the 13th of March is when I got that awful summons based on lies and crimes against me that looks so much like the messages that were used look so much like, even though it said slightly different things, it was almost identical. And the messages that were used to criminalize me and to criminalize the private parcel that was stolen from me, really, and signed in my name, were identical almost to the ones in Glastonbury that got me to a court trial. That, I mean, I got them into court trial because I did an injunction because they wouldn't let me use the kitchen and bathroom, saying that I was a dangerous witch. And it was just because my messages, my blogs were being used, and my creative writing was caricatured and used in a way to portray me as a dangerous person. And that's just horrible when that happens, because if you are like a big I remember like that big astrologist in England that has like something like 40,000 followers, and she was hacked, and someone was selling her services in her name and pretending to be her and giving consultations and just getting money. And Facebook and YouTube, etc., they didn't do anything much, and the police didn't do anything much. So she didn't know how to resolve this problem. But the fact that she had also many followers, she still continued her work. But when you don't have that, and you're just a little thing, that you're just doing your little work to your big work, but in your small way, I mean, because it's a big work to document native, like ethnic minorities, and to try and do a league or a museum or an association that will protect these ethnic minorities and can grow bit by bit. It's a very hard and ambitious work that needs a lot of strength and a lot of support. And if you start being targeted in these ways by people who have the authority to slander you with the authorities, they can really ruin your reputation and your professional and personal reputation. Because, like the Bronte used to say, when you write and say something new as a woman, or just something that is your own original stuff, you get criticized not for what you write. It's not what you write that gets criticized, but you as a person. And this is what still happens. So I just realized there is my labyrinth on the sand right between the rivers, one on the left and one is on the right, with the vast ocean in front. Yeah, and she says basically that she was looking at the sea, and this is the magic of... Oh, there she is. I got it. I just want to share a bit on the magic. So she says, my dreams are getting more prolific and meaningful. This is when your pre-industrial brain activates, we say, because we were connecting with these women, and this is that were the wives of the stalker, of the stalker that was originally the husband of my ex, and we were connecting to them. And basically the women were basically like the wives of the same people here, some kind of Vika and New Age and yoga teachers, normal people that do pseudo spiritual thing. It's not that you have to think that people who belong to that sect are all rapists of children and the like. It's not like that. It's normal people that, and it's like a pyramid, and the people who are below just think that it's a community where everybody can have their different beliefs and everybody can do they share on common beliefs, and then they have a strong community. And I think that gives them some very strong sense of belonging. Otherwise, not so many people would keep going. There is a lot of women there. It's a lot of families there. So we got into contact, we of the old society. I say old society because we are like communities that are now scattered around Europe that are still practicing a way of life that originates in pre-Christian faiths, and that I have documented for 30 years as something different from the New Age. It's completely different from the New Age, and I explain why in my articles that were interrupted, and in the thesis that I wrote, that it's finished but not yet published, but one is published and one is not published. So she wrote, this is the magic of the connection that these men are so afraid of. And I just want to focus one moment on what they are attacking here, because this is the kind of connections that they are attacking here. Okay, it's nothing that should be ever attacked. She says, my dreams are getting more and more prolific and meaningful. It does feel like the mystery of the labyrinth is unveiling itself to us both. So to be specific, mon Dieu, perché? Then these things up. So to be specific, she says, in answer to your question, I closed my eyes. I closed my eyes. Sorry. It's very small. I closed my eyes and asked for a sign. I was in the void and felt full of grace when I asked. When I opened my eyes, I walked a few steps and came immediately upon the labyrinth at my feet. I was astounded. This is the amazing labyrinth that is in Rocky Valley. She saw it appearing on the beach. The beach was deserted, and where it was positioned on the sand, I felt sure I would have seen someone who had drawn it on the beach as the side tide was going out, not in. Do you understand? So the tide was going out, and she would have seen if someone would have drawn it on the beach as the tide was going out. There was nothing. Its position to the edge of the water and the edge of the beach, you see, was noticeable, that I would have seen someone, but no one was there, no one there. Those are mere footprints, not mine. I think I photographed it before I walked it. So before she walks in and the tide is going out, she makes a photograph, and there is only Mia's print. Mia was her dog. Yes, it was huge and perfectly proportioned, as you can see. Perhaps you should take a look at the install for your guest house. Sounds like a really noble cause. Two big rivers meet here and journey out to sea. You can see in the photo the gap where the sea meets the rivers. the river storage on the left, and the river um, toe on the right. Then she said shatsu in Japanese massage, but based on traditional Chinese massage and medicine, using gentle and firm pressure through the clothes to help internal energy flow and alleviate and heal symptoms. I will give you a shatsu next time. Then the next time was history after the shatsu, I realize, and that's when they got together. That's what I mean. Was history, and then I got assaulted because, of course, it was my fault if they got together. But this is the kind of magic that these men are attacking. Just the connection between the women. They cannot let us be friends in that sistery way that we used to, and that is just natural for all women, because all women that I met, when you go to a women festival or something, they just call you sister after like half an hour. Like, you go there and you hate all women when you arrive to a festival, because when you live in the patriarchy, you kind of do. It's just you breed misogyny all the time. And then when you go to a women festival, you suddenly love everybody again, because it's just what you do, what it happens, and it's natural. But some men, I mean the weak one, not all men, luckily, they're just so afraid of these connections, and this is what they can do to break it, because they are afraid that takes the women away from their perennial control, and they don't understand that it is only through the freedom that you can love someone. They don't understand that. They just have to keep control, and they can keep it up sometimes for years of lies, whilst they harming other women. They just continue to pull it up with theirs. And why I am so surprised that my landlady worked 9 months for the natives and apologized about the errors of the ancestors is that one of the major errors of the ancestors in the States was exactly what she did to me here, that is trashing the celebration and cultural celebrations and identities of their people, of those peoples that were older and were living, that their culture was older and was native to that land, like the Celts are native to Europe, and they survived. Not only the pagan Celts, but other forms of paganism have survived in Europe that are not new paganism, and the British scholars will say that that is not true. I think they don't know the mountains in the continental Europe, because Britain is almost all full of cameras and cars, and there is no wilderness, and there is no older knowledge that has survived, because the one that survived, the people of that older knowledge that survived in England and in the UK have left those ways. So there was, I wrote about 100 pages in one PhD and another 100 pages in the other to talk about these older cultures in comparison with Eurasian survived shamanism, and showing how the witch hunt mentality that has wiped out these practices in Europe, as well as functioning in the scapegoating of all people that were not even pagans, because most of the so-called witches burned at the stakes or hanged were not, as I said before, were not carrier of an older fate, but that at the same time, it is true that the witch hunt wiped out the older faith, even though it didn't burn the real witches most of the time. It burned normal people that were just marginalized, especially women that did not have the protection of men, especially women that were midwives and healers, or owners of land and houses that wanted to be taken by the family, and so the woman got, maybe a widow got, or a woman unmarried that had land and riches got witch hunted so that the property could be taken, or she was blamed for the deaths after birth, or after a natural healing method was not successful, as well as all those superstitious methods that were used for healing that mix the different traditions, and also were not very good for you, some of the things that they did that were considered to be healthy. And so some people died, and women got accused of witchcraft. I hope that well, I have made some new. I hope that we can use the past to understand the present, and how the same dynamics go on, and how the same dynamics that pertain to scapegoating originate in the mentality of having, that is the mentality of capitalism, that is the mentality of accumulation. Why do I say that? Because in a society that is based on have, not on being, how much you have, not what you are, who is going to be scapegoated is not necessarily who is wrong, but is who has less. So if someone, for instance, like the stalker, is that is maybe here, okay, is not at the top of the society, because say that this is the society, and maybe the landlady is there with the middle class, and then the politicians are here, and then there is people even above, he will be here and I will be maybe there because of my personal circumstances. I'm talking about having here, okay? He has a stable home here for 2 years, and got a lot of money from the person that is now using her money and lawyers to make his lie become law, basically. And so that person that is maybe here, he's using that person that is here to scapegoat the person that is there, who could get him shut out of his position by regaining her freedom and get him arrested. Because if that woman was helping me to go to the police in December, instead of sending me the police and saying that I stole the key, when actually I should have a copy of those key, because that red door between her left wing of the house and my wing of the house, I have a right to lock that door if he has the keys of all the house. I have the right after he assaulted me, because even to be open the door on your face when you're locked in at Christmas is an assault in my point of view, because I didn't want to go to the hospital that day or 2 weeks later with head injury. I didn't want that to happen, to be disrupted, to be forcing myself against the door to get a man out. I didn't want even that man to come to the door. That was an assault. Even to just get in, because you pushed the door on me and I fell. That was an assault. It was not an incident. It was not an accident. I mean, it was an incident, not an accident. It was an hate incident. And that woman could have used a voice to give me voice, so that from there I can come here and be safe, be on surface, instead of being crushed under, because I cannot get back in society after, like most women that, especially women that are survivors and do not have a very strong support net behind. They don't, the social services, the free lawyers, the police do not support isolated victims because there is no money for it. From their point of view, there is money, but they get used the wrong way. So the women that are marginalized in Italy, like elsewhere, they get psychiatrized. They get told that it didn't happen. They get put into institutions. They can be made into veggies. Because if you get told again and again that the most disgusting and atrocious things that have been done on your body and on your mind, because also you don't have to be raped to be violated, because if someone doesn't allow you to have a home, doesn't allow you to have privacy, doesn't allow you to have private communication, and distorts everything that you write and sends video of your bodies around, and they do revenge videos, sending and all that shit that everybody knows, you start becoming ill. You start becoming a vegetable. You start being afraid of your own voice. This is why I say just speak out. It doesn't matter if it's in order. Just tell your story. It doesn't matter if it's not all tidy. Just get your voices up there. Like, I want to hear the stories from the unconsensual victims that by speaking out will not be victims anymore. Because even though it is not order, even though I cannot write a perfect defense like my dad, even though I will look crazy for a while as I try to show the connections from my own very upset point of view, bit by bit, when you tell the story and you can show the evidence that you have accumulated in the years, just keep it and publish it before it gets deleted. Because, for instance, those Kelly Services messages, I only found 2 and I've shown them to you, where the guy was offering me a job and then tells me to shut up and stop asking irrelevant questions. After that, I told him there is more messages where I told him, I know who you are, and I wrote his name and surname, and that was the offender, and that is when I actually threatened him. The guy who tried to strangle me, I told him I'll kill him myself, to leave me alone in that message, and he deleted it, but I would have shown it to you now. Because here it wouldn't go, you would think it goes against you. No, it doesn't, because that is when I have threatened the man that tried to kill me. I told him I'll kill you. And after that, he replied, fuck you, and like he was replying to, I said, I know who you are, and I know, and he was replying all the witchy things that were witch and fuck you and all the reference to the assault. And from that message already that I sent to the police at the time in the UK, and they said, oh, but if you are all in Sweden, we cannot do anything. And that's the same thing that they said when I showed them this video. I'm going to make a different video to show this video. I'll do it later because it's already 9:30. I have to go. Yeah, we stop here, but yeah, stop here. Tomorrow more hacking. Keep the stories together, publish them. I finished the sentence that was, yeah, the guy replied all the things. So if you publish them right away before they get deleted, like if I had done this job 2 years ago when I was not strong enough to just take my voice and put it out there, the evidence, even more than now, would have been all clear together. And so you can show the consistency. And if someone does something to you, if you get kidnapped, if you get thrown on a car and nobody hears from you for months or maybe never again, these videos will be seen by someone that is left behind so you can and you are going to be protected by those videos in a way, even if they can use it to say that you're crazy because of how you speak. After a trauma, nobody speaks so straight, you know. Just publish them, because it also like it will also be like a retainer from them to do things to you. If their names and stories are out there, they can say, oh, she's crazy, but at the same time, if you say, well, there was a fire at my house, and it targeted all the three houses where I was saying I was leaving. One was where I was receiving mail, one was where I was really leaving, and one was where I was pretending to be leaving on workaway and Airbnb in front of. I put 108, and I wrote 108 on my house just to confuse a bit things. So those three houses were being targeted, and the guy was looking at the mail in both houses. And then here there was two different arson attempts, as the same accusations based on the creative writing, additional to threats that they write themselves, is being used to criminalize me in the same way that it happened in Glastonbury. So if I put those two trials next to each other, and if I put the vandalism next to each other that started in Glastonbury, in that place, I in Avalon Priory, I changed 6 tires in March 2021. 6 tires. They would put like nails in it. So I can show that this is the same people, the same stuff. My father is being message from a second Signal account that his informatic friend located in the UK, they're writing from the UK, from a name called No One that I used for a month in England. When I got in contact with this group, Stop H2, in Birmingham, where there were people that were not really activists, and there were infiltrations, and they were against them, but also against people that were a lot of people in Stop HS2 were not using their names. It was all strange. And I also didn't use my name. I used No One. And now, 5 years later, of consistent stalking in the same way, my father gets contacted by someone online with my photos on here in this room now. He gets contacted, but with that name, from Britain. And he receives the same messages that I'm sending from my French number from that phone, so that he opens a communication there, and he's getting my voice messages that I sent from my French phone to his phone. Sorry. And then he starts communicating and telling, and they told him that I had a lawyer when I didn't have a lawyer, so he was stopping to help me. And he was asking me, but you told me you have a lawyer, and now you say you don't. And I hadn't written that, because obviously if you get a message from that sounds like me with the picture of me on Signal, you think it's me. Then I reply something in writing right after, and then you think like you get reply something from that email on my behalf, I mean, and by writing after you got a voicemail, and then you think that it's really your daughter, but it's not. And then you create conflict between people. This is, for instance, how online identity theft works. It's not just to steal money, it's also to steal reputation, to steal lives, to steal the peace from your life, because you want to attack someone that you think they did you wrong because they had a lesbian relationship with the wife that was yours before, and then it was someone else's.